Oh man, Sam, this has been so good. I
Thanks, sis.
I really appreciate the time, and I would love to maybe do this again because you have so much information. I think the path that you're on is so
Yeah,
inspirational for so many people, just like getting started in content creating or
yeah.
anything, but to start not really knowing what you're doing to 4 million YouTube subscribers and traveling and doing shows all over the world. I mean, that's just it's amazing. It makes me smile so big.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. Listen, I can say this to people thinking about getting in. You need a pretty clear vision of what you are, and also who you think your audience will be. And
Right.
I'm not saying I had all this figured out in the beginning.
Sure.
The beginning, all I knew is that I wanted to do simple food that people would watch and they would go, hey, that looks good, but it also looks like I could make that. That's who I wanted to be. My name implied that, the food implied that. But for people thinking about it, you have to start. I talk to people all the time. They go, I've got an idea for something and blah, blah, blah. And I go, yeah, what are you doing about it? They go, well, we're figuring out, what equipment we need and cameras and stuff like this. I go, let me tell you something. That will come. But the most important part is you just got to sit down, turn your phone on you, and start talking
Right.
and see how you're going to be. Because I'm going to tell you right now, there's a 99% chance that you're going to suck. If you watched if you watched Sam the Cooking Guy's demo and it's on my website somewhere under the About Me section, I'm awful in my demo. I'm nervous. I spend the first minute with one hand in my pocket. I don't smile more than a couple times, but it got somebody's attention. I was lucky. Right me, right style, right time.
Yeah.
For a TV station here that had a really boring chef on a couple times a week that they got rid of. But most people, like it took me 6 months to figure out my voice in front of a camera. And I think I've always been good at speaking and being in front of a crowd. But when you put the camera on you, it's a whole different thing.
Right.
So for whatever channel you think you might want to create, doesn't matter what it is. Sewing, how to fix cars, how to use lumber, how to make little toys out of whatever. You got to start by just put the camera on you in a room with nobody around you and start having a conversation, because I'm telling you, you're going to suck until you start to get comfortable with it. And I can't stress that part more. You have to just begin. Every journey starts with a step forward, yes. But in this world, it starts with putting the camera on you and practicing to the camera and then listening back and seeing how many times you say or look away from the camera. You got to believe you're talking to one person out there. So do that.
Right.
Start practicing.
That's
How
so
were
good.
you when you first got in front of a camera?
Oh, it was crazy I mean, I've had like baby steps experience because I've always been kind of like the face of the company. So anytime there was like a little TV spot or, you go on CBS News and the morning show type stuff. I've done a number of those things, and
Yeah.
I've always been a little more interested in it than, the regular guy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, if you look at our first video, like our first episode of Barbecue Like a Boss was me holding my phone doing a selfie video of what's the difference between baby back ribs and St. Louis ribs. And
Yeah.
now we've come so far, and we have a videographer and editors, and but I really do enjoy it, and it's something that I think, it helps the business. It keeps me engaged, and I think that it really brings value. Something that you said on one of the videos I watched, I connected with right away, was how you want to get condiments out of other people's kitchens, and just to have more options. Like you could do simple chicken and add a couple different Asian condiments, and it's a completely different thing, and it's delicious.
100%. Okay, look, I say that all the time. You want to change your food world?
Yep.
Get other people's condiments.
Right.
Go to an Asian market and just start walking around. It's a video that we have on the list of things we're going to do. What condiments do I have? Should you have? Can you add simply and easily?
Yeah.
Look, I come from Vancouver, Canada. Really significant Chinese population. So I
Okay.
grew up around all the sesame oil, black bean garlic sauce, that kind of stuff. I use soy sauce It's one of the most important ingredients that I use for all kinds of things. And everything, and things that aren't, I say it all the time when I use it. No, this is not going to make this gravy or soup or whatever taste like Chinese food. It's just going to amp up the flavors.
Right.
So it adds that little kick of umami.
Umami, yeah.
I watched a Chinese guy saying, "Oh, the secret to our gravy at Thanksgiving is soy sauce." I was like, "I've been doing that for 30 years. I didn't even think to start. I do that, but I didn't think to make a big deal out of it."
Right.
But yeah, a couple things, makes a huge difference. It really does.
It does. That's, so I'm the barbecue guy online, but I always talk about like taking traditional barbecue methods and adding international flavor profiles. And
Right.
it's not rocket science. I mean, and
No.
everybody has their own form of barbecue. No matter what culture you're in, somewhere they're cooking over live
100%.
fire. And to take some of those flavors, whether it's lemongrass and ginger or a gochujang sauce, and add it to some smoked meat, it's not rocket science, but it just, some people they would just never think about it. They got Sweet Baby Ray's and pulled pork. What else do they need? So
100%. Sweet Baby Ray's with a little gochujang in it is a whole different beast.
now we're talking, yeah.
It really is. It really is. Start with the best, add to it, and you'll be fine.
Oh.
And that's I have people say to me all the time, "Are you going to do your own barbecue sauce?" I go, "Fuck no." Have you looked at the fucking barbecue sauce aisle?
Oh my
Shelves at the supermarket.
Yeah.
You guys are, boom, front
Yeah.
and center.
Right.
You really are, because you've earned that positioning.
Right.
I don't know if you don't have to pay to be there anymore, do you?
No. Well, so that's a whole nother story. But
Be an interesting conversation one day, yeah.
my dad is the chef that created Sweet Baby Ray's, and
Right.
then his brother, my uncle Dave, and his business partner really ran Sweet Baby Ray's from the early 80s, and then they sold the business in the year 2000.
Yeah.
When they sold that, they retained the rights for restaurants and catering, and that's what we're doing now. So that's why it says Sweet Baby Ray's Catering.
Catering. Oh, I got you. Okay.
So we have
Yeah.
a small restaurant, a pretty big size catering company with the brand
Got it.
Sweet Baby Ray's, and now
Yeah.
I'm just getting started with Deuce's Wild, which is going to be
Wild. Great.
restaurants.
Great name, by the way. I love,
Thank you
I love
so
what
much.
I've seen you're doing with it.
Yes. Yeah, we're excited about it. So yeah, that's a whole nother side of the story. But so when they bought Sweet Baby Ray's from us, it was a $30 million brand. And they've grown it to a $2.2 billion brand. I mean, it's the best-selling barbecue sauce in retail history, and it's not even close. It's not even – we see all the data from the sales. We still have a connection with the Sweet Baby Ray's guys, and they send it to us.
Yeah.
It's not even close. Like, they own
Crazy.
over 50% of the market share.
Who's number two?
Kraft. And
I was going to say Kraft.
It's baby steps. And it's
Yeah.
like there's it's just I just saw it this week, so I know. It's I mean, it's just it's unbelievable. It's the only market in the whole country that they're not number one is Oklahoma. And Heads Red, I don't know if you ever heard of that sauce. That's the only market in the whole country that they're not number one in. But yeah, that's Sweet Baby Ray's. I mean, that's an American dream story that's just, we don't own the business, but I'm still very proud, and
As you should be, certainly.
Yeah,
Certainly.
it's very cool. We lost my dad a couple years ago, and I know he was. I mean, there's nobody else that was prouder to be Sweet Baby Ray. It was my dad. He walked in the room because he was like, my dad was a classically trained chef, and he was like an old school chef, a grumpy guy that would make the waitress cry if she screwed up the order. So, but yeah, he was so proud of the sauce, and even after they sold it, and like my uncle tells the story, towards the end when they got together, they would always end up crying because they grew up on welfare on the west side of Chicago, with not a pot to piss in.
Wow.
And
listen to the accent.
yeah,
It's
a crazy story, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm proud to be part of it, and
Good for you. You should be. It's a great legacy, man. It really is.
Right. Now I
Yeah.
got to keep going. Like I tell people, when they sold the business, they made it enough for themselves, but not enough for me, so I got to keep working.
Well, and so wait, just to put period on this conversation. No, I'm not making a barbecue sauce. I don't know. I mean, the whole, yeah. No, I'm not.
No,
No.
I think there's plenty
listen,
other stuff.
We've
Make
done
another
well.
cookbook.
We've done well. Well, my sixth one came out this year.
No way.
Yeah, Sam the Cooking Guy and the
Wow.
Holy Grill.
Oh, and it was
as you would-
barbecue?
Yeah, yeah. Some
Nice.
smoking barbecue, which is what you would expect from me. It's not Meathead's book. It's not, the science of barbecue. It's none of that. It's sort of a general look at everything. If you want like one book that has a little bit of a lot of things,
Yeah.
that's the book, Sam the Cooking Guy and the Holy Grill. But we've done really well with our merchandise. We started
I
with
like it, too.
with one knife about 10 years ago, and boy, our merch line is strong. It really is. So
That's awesome.
That's another look into 2025.
What advice would you give me if I was
Yeah.
looking to do a cookbook?
Wow. You can listen to Meathead talking to Greg, I think last week or something, about his the
I
whole
will do that.
process. But I can tell you this: you have to have something that will differentiate you from everybody else.
Yeah, that's tough. There's so much stuff out there now.
Yeah, you got to find your way to a publisher.
Okay.
And as you as Duce Raymond and the history that you come from,
Right.
you have a leg up over other people.
Right.
But when people say, I got an idea about making, a whole cookbook about biscuits, go, great. So what makes you different, but who do you know? Because you've got to get that idea down on paper and then to a publisher. And they're probably not going to accept anything from you because they don't know who the hell you are.
Right.
Joe Smith means nothing to them. You could go through an agent, but same thing. The agent has got to look at this and go, this could be something or not. But they will get you to a publisher, but you still got to get to an agent. And it's a difficult process. I'm working with my agent right now and my publisher for what would be book number 7.
Okay.
And the pre-work is very important. The concept, list of recipes, sample chapters, that kind of stuff. And they have to see that you have the ability to write, you put sentences together, that kind of stuff. But if and when they say yes, from a yes to a published book is about 1.5 to 2 years.
No kidding.
It's a long ass process.
I better get started.
You better get going. Yeah.
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 Oh man, I kind of went back and forth on it for a while, but I really do see the value in cookbooks still because yes, there's all this content online, and yes, you can get just about any recipe at any time.
Yes.
On your fingertips.
Yes.
However, sometimes it's kind of a maze to get to it because you're like, oh, I remember it was on his feed, and you're scrolling back, and even with search, sometimes it's if you have a cookbook, it's all there, and you can find exactly what you're looking for.
Listen,
so I think there is some value there. Still.
People still like cookbooks. They like to hold them. They like to have them. I've got a few big stacks of them, and I like them. I don't necessarily go to them.
Right.
I watched something on the internet called the Pasta Grannies. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's Italian grandmothers, like actual ones in Italy.
Okay.
And it's translated because they're generally just speaking Italian.
Yeah.
So there's words on the screen, graphics and stuff. But it's charming as fuck. It's a great thing. And I don't make a lot of pasta. My wife isn't a big pasta fan. But I watched it. And I saw that they were selling the cookbook. I bought the cookbook. I think I've cracked it, but I wanted that book, not really to use. I think I just wanted to support them.
Right.
It felt right. My very first cookbook came out in 2007. Sam the Cooking Guy, just a bunch of recipes. My literary agent at the time said to me, look, you're not going to get rich from a cookbook.
Right.
I mean, maybe the big stars do, right? And listen, after 6 cookbooks, I can't complain. I've done very well. But he said, you're not going to get rich from a cookbook. But what it will do is will open doors for you. And it got me on the Today Show my very first time.
That's
and
awesome.
I wouldn't have gotten on the Today Show just because I was Sam the Cooking Guy on a handful of stations. I got because there was a book that they could hold, they could promote, they could put on this. Coming up in our next hour, Sam the Cooking Guy, just a bunch of recipes, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been a good thing for me, and I really like writing a cookbook. My editor in the very beginning said, "Yeah, I'm not sure you can write a cookbook. This is based on my proposal, which is something else you have to do anyway." And I was hurt by that. And he goes, but that's why they have ghostwriters. And I said to myself that day, if I get a chance to write a cookbook, every word will be mine. And every word from the very first book has been mine. The editors and the publisher come in and they change, grammar and print and punctuation and shit like that. But it's all me. It's all me. And I think I have a very particular style that I wouldn't want somebody else to try and write. So
good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats on getting going on number 7. That's amazing.
Thank you.
6 cookbooks going to 7.
Yeah.